What did you choose to play, Mr. Dunn?
I played Guild of Dungeoneering.
Oh, is it good?
It's really good. It's really, really good. I first played it a few years ago, actually, when I was travelling back from a festival in North Wales in the back of a camper van. I was rushing back because my poor little pooch needed to go to the hospital, and I wasn't driving. Context that you don't need, but I was playing it on my iPad. It kept me very entertained on a somewhat stressful journey for about 5 hours.
Yeah,
and I hadn't really thought about the game since then, to be honest, until I was browsing the games developed in Ireland and spotted it and was like, I'm absolutely going to pick this up again and give it another go. And much to my delight, there is now an ultimate version of the game on Steam.
Lovely.
And presumably other storefronts too. It includes all of its DLC and a bunch of quality of life improvements and other just smoothing out the creases. It makes it the nicest, slickest and smoothest way to play the game. And I did try giving the original mobile version a go because I had it, but it was a bit too small a screen for it, and I got a cheap Steam key for the game, so here we are. Cut all of that. Guild of Dungeoneering presents itself as a pen and paper dungeon crawler with lovely biro sketched artwork and a clean presentation that makes everything very clear to see what's going on, and the aesthetic allows a lot of charm to be put into all of the drawings and animations. You slowly build and expand a Guild of Dungeoneering that plays hosts to many a dungeoneer who you can then send out on increasingly treacherous missions to earn money, to continue to expand your guild. There's a nice sort of tile builder side to the expansion of your guild, although there isn't any real strategy needed. It is just plonk a new room wherever you want. You don't get bonuses by building things adjacent to other rooms or anything like that, which would have probably been quite a nice feature, actually. The missions and quests in Guild of Dungeoneering take the form of turn-based, card-based, randomly generated, dungeon-based crawls. And when you're exploring, you have a hand of about 5 cards to place on the board to basically create the dungeon, and it then charts the path for your next turn. It could be like a room card that contains maybe something within it, or just an empty room to provide passageway to another sort of pre-existing room in the dungeon. You also draw and place enemies and rewards, so you have a good bit of control over your experience, and you also need to be careful how and where you place the elements, because your hero will automatically draw their path of where they're going next, and they'll be drawn towards various things, and you want to try and tackle easier monsters sooner, build up your XP and loot before you go thundering into the harder enemies. And so there's a lot of tactics involved in sort of how you explore, which is it's good fun. But an undo button would be nice. Because sometimes it's really, really tricky to foresee the route your dungeoneer will take or how that will change until after you've placed a certain card, and then, of course, it's too late.
Yes.
And when you enter a battle in Guild of Dungeoneering, you draw a whole new set of cards for your fighting, and these will range from different attacks, magic spells, shields, and the like, and you'll alternate turns with the enemy, and you need to empty all of their health bar before they empty yours, as you would absolutely expect. Your deck will then expand depending on what loot you find in a dungeon, and the different types of dungeoneer come with a different starting deck too, so you'll need to be clever, pick the right hero and the right type of loot when you're on a mission, depending on the enemy types and the mission type. I mean, the good thing about all of this is that your strategic thinking is always quite short form. You don't need to massively think far ahead, and the missions are nice and short. If you fail, you can try again with a different strategy quite easily. If you win, you can crack on with another one. And on it goes as you develop all of the different sides of the game, and it's a really good time. Like, much like I was saying about Bleak Sword, like Guild of Dungeoneering, it's not breaking any boundaries in terms of what it's doing, but what it is doing, it's doing really, really well, and with a huge amount of charm. Like, I love the aesthetic in the game, and I also really love the audio work in the game. It's got really good sound effects, they're always quite funny. The whole game is accompanied by a sort of bard-type narrator that will chime in with little rhymes when you unlock new things or play new missions. It's just brilliantly whimsical, and the music is really good as well. Like, it definitely warrants playing with the sound on, even if you are just playing on your phone.
Yeah.
There's a huge amount of content here as well. The progression in the game is possibly a bit on the slow side, and so I haven't actually unlocked anywhere near as much as I hope. Well, I haven't made as much progress as I would have liked. There is a fair bit of grinding involved because you need to save money to build all the different types of things in your guild. But then also grinding is a traditional part of dungeoneering, so it sort of fits, and it's fun taking on missions with a slightly different aim of like making the mission last as long as possible to make a bit more money if you're saving up. So you like deliberately don't trigger the end condition, so you've got a bit more time to make as much money as possible, and that's quite fun doing that. Even if it's replaying an old mission. I haven't touched the DLC. I haven't got to that bit yet, but it seems like it's good and plentiful. I've got the game installed on my Mac, and even though it says it's not supported on 64-bit operating system, fortunately, it runs absolutely fine, and it's a nice game to have running, playing bits and bobs of it between other bits and other bobs of work. I definitely recommend the game. I'd say it feels Irish, certainly in its its whimsical, comedic way of presenting. It's got bundles of charm, much like Ireland, and like my time in Dublin, it is thoroughly good crack.